unfortunately, the hard part about inspections is that it is where deals go to die. And as realtors, obviously, it's always our nerve-wracking day when, the inspection is set, just because you never know what you're going to find. That's also considered a contingency on the contract, that if you do find something that is too much to handle, you can back out and, get your money back and move on. So what is like the biggest deal breaker you think you've found?
So yeah, in the aspect of cost, safety,
Right.
I would say it's either going to be
An informative yet entertaining pod chat about life in the real estate market, life in Philly, life as a mom, and everything in between. Elm Street, take one. That's what we're taking today, isn't it? Yeah. Welcome to Elm Street, an informative yet entertaining pod chat about life in the real estate market, life in Philly, life as a mom, and everything in between. And today's episode is a very special one because it's probably the most important part of a real estate transaction, which is the inspection. So here I have Miguel from Pro-spect, and we're going to talk about everything what to expect in an inspection. So, hi Miguel, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Of course. You are my main go-to when it comes to inspections, so I'm happy that you're here too, joining us. And I can't wait to, dive in and so that we can let all of our clients know, what it's like and what the process entails.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm finding out after talking to, several, different clients that, some people may think they know what a home inspection is. And oftentimes, they might not be too right. So it's a good opportunity to lay it all down,
Right. So before we dive into it, just so that, my clients know, when you go to buy a home, you get under contract, you have 10 days to complete the inspection process. So that's really an important note. You can't just, sit on it and wait. There's a timeline there, and that's where Pro-spect comes in. I send you their number, and then you call and schedule. And I think you guys have specific times that you actually do the inspections, right?
Yeah, we try to schedule it either in the morning or in the afternoon. But we're also very, very flexible as well.
Right, but I think it's been like 9 a.m. and like 1 p.m. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that works. People can go after work or right before work, things like that. So that's good. So I know that there's a spiel that you do every time we sit down with clients and basically run through everything. And when we actually submit the contract too, we do have to waive and elect which things we're getting done in the inspection. So that's the conversation that I have with my clients prior to, touching base with you. So if you want to run through your spiel for me, that would be great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would love to. One of the most important thing is, we usually take anywhere between like 2 and 3 hours for a typical home inspection, If the home is a bit larger, it might take a little bit longer. And I usually try to give a rough estimate on how long the inspection is actually going to take. But, I always let my clients know that this is your time to be in the home. I have my job to do. And, you can go ahead and go along and do your own little inspection,
Right.
Just to envision yourself, living in your home and, having your furniture in there and everything. But I let them know exactly what I'm going to do for them. We start on the exterior, okay? I check the siding, the windows, the doors, electrical outlets, the hose bibs. If there's an AC condenser out there, I'm checking that while I'm out there. Anything that penetrates the home, checking to make sure that it's sealed.
Right.
So after I'm done the exterior portion, we're inspecting the roof for you. Whether or not I might be climbing up there on a ladder or I might be sending the drone up. Depends on the pitch and the height and the weather, of course, that day. Once I'm done completing the the roof inspection, I'm going to come inside, start from the top down. So I get up into the attic, making sure that the roof is doing its intended function, keeping that moisture out, making sure there's no penetrations anywhere, making sure that insulation is properly installed and enough of it's in there, to keep you warm in the wintertime, cool in the summertime. And then from there, start on the second or third floor, depending on the size of the home. I'm in and out of the rooms, checking the floors, the walls, ceiling, doors, electrical outlets. When I do the bathroom areas, the kitchen areas, and the laundry areas, I also like to take a video while I'm inspecting everything, kind of to show that everything's working all at the same time.
Right.
Or not, depending on what we're finding, because I don't want my clients to go in there the first day and say, hey, I'm going to cook a nice big meal, and then they go to turn the oven on and
It's
they
not
realize the
working, right.
refrigerator's not working, you know?
Yeah, you guys run the washer dryer too, right?
Yes, we do.
And the dishwasher, things like that.
Yeah, we turn everything on. Yeah, we have, when we go in at first, we turn on all the lights in the home, and we want to keep everything on all at the same time. We're basically testing the load for
Right.
the electrical system to make sure that everything remains on with all the bigger appliances running.
Right. That's good. And then I know that, so that's just the typical basic home inspection. And then there's also, you opt in for termite and radon. And radon, I have learned, is an odorless gas that, could come up, and you guys have like a machine that you put in the basement typically, and then you come and pick it up a few days later, and if it's over 4.0, it's a problem.
That's correct.
So tell me more about radon, because that's like the biggest question that I get.
So radon is everywhere. And just like you said, it is odorless. And in different areas, might have different levels of radon, so it's basically breaking down of certain materials that are underneath the ground, and it likes to creep up into the home through the cracks and crevices. And the machines that we install, they run for about 48 hours, and they do like an estimate at the end. The new machines that we have are really nice, because prior to this, we'd have to go out to the home to pick up the radon machine and upload the test, and that's when you would find out the information. But our new machines that we have now, once the 48 hours is over with, the machine stops and emails the client directly
wow.
with the information.
I didn't know
So
that. That's
we're trying
new.
to step it up a little bit.
Yeah, that's really new. Wow, that's great. And then as far as like termite, you guys offer that as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I always, if anybody were to come to me and say, hey, what do you think I should get, initially, I call it our little triple play. I like baseball.
Right.
So, home inspection, termite, and radon.
Right.
That's our most popular, bundle.
Right, and that's in like the Philadelphia area.
I can do anywhere.
Right, but then when you get to Jersey, there's a whole
That's
other.
true. That's a whole other beast.
Yeah, and I know you guys are actually now in Jersey. I just used you recently for a deal there. And what other states are you guys working
So
with?
Delaware.
Oh, okay.
I'm licensed in Delaware, so I can be used in Delaware as well. We're into Maryland a bit as well.
Oh, wow.
And we have two divisions in Florida.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, we're pretty much the whole eastern side of Pennsylvania.
Good to know. And then, so what would you say is the biggest, I'm trying to put this in the right terms, the number one deal breaker? So, unfortunately, the hard part about inspections is that it is where deals go to die. And as realtors, obviously, it's always our nerve-wracking day when, the inspection is set, just because you never know what you're going to find. And obviously, that's also considered a contingency on the contract, that if you do find something that is too much to handle, you can back out and, get your money back and move on. So what is the biggest deal breaker you think you've found?
So yeah, in the aspect of cost, safety,
Right.
I would say it's either going to be the roof or the foundation.
I agree with you. So I actually have a different way of handling it. I'm not like your typical realtor where I say, ask the sellers to fix every little outlet. I feel like that's such a waste. But if obviously the roof has an issue or the foundation, that to me, is considered something where you should speak up and, try to see something. But I actually believe that you should not even ask the seller to repair anything. You should take care of it yourself, because at the end of the day, you don't know what they're going to do. They could have a cousin that could send a fake invoice and
I agree
say,
with you.
hey, I did the roof, check, no? And then you go and, it wasn't done right. So I always try to maybe get a seller credit so that the buyer themselves can cover it after settlement and, manage the whole repair. So I try not to, put it all on the seller, because at the end of the day, they're leaving. The buyer's going to be the one living there. And
Yes.
So I kind of agree with that. But you guys are great because literally you get the report that same day, which, not all the companies do that. Sometimes they take like 24 hours, but you guys are the same day, which I appreciate because obviously time is of the essence here. We want to know like what's going on and how to proceed and things like that. But yeah.
So going back to
Yes.
the repairs. Okay, I totally agree with you. Having you find your own person to take care of the repairs, but not everybody's in the same place. So
Right.
sometimes for a certain client, it might be more beneficial just to have it repaired.
Right.
Because they might not have an outlet to figure out. who
Right.
to
Every
come.
situation is different, and sometimes the seller is a contractor, or and they can figure out a way where they can say, "I can take care of this." You know what I mean? And then give proof and all that. Like every situation is different in that sense. But I don't know. I just don't trust everyone.
And that's why, I was going to say this, I will be more than happy to go back out and do a reinspection on those items that were repaired.
Right. So then, is there a charge for the client for that?
So there initially is a charge. I feel like a lot of times it goes to the seller because, it's kind of their problem,
Right,
right?
right.
So we usually are able to work that out, and most of the time the seller is okay with the. It's not as expensive as the initial home inspection.
Right. Well, that's good to know. That's important. And did you ever do like a walk and talk inspection?
Yeah, I love walk and talks.
Okay.
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. They're like half price of a normal home inspection.
Right.
We just kind of walk and we talk, and I basically point out things that would be like a major in my book. Anything that's not doing its intended function or could cause harm to you or the home.
Right.
Those are the things that I would point out, so they would understand, be able to ask questions right then and there.
Right. And just so that my clients are aware, a walk and talk is used to kind of waive inspections when you put the offer in and go through the house prior to putting the offer in so that you kind of know what's going on basically.
Yes.
And have and honestly in New Jersey it's more common because of how crazy the market is there. PA is a little bit different, but New Jersey is nuts. So you probably have done a few over there, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had to,
Yeah.
park the work truck around the corner and come with a regular shirt and
Oh my God.
pretend to be, cousin Bobby or something.
Yeah.
I do whatever I need to do for my clients.
Yeah, it's been more of like the norm to do that in Jersey because it's such a crazy market over there. So I'm not your typical realtor in the sense that I actually tell my clients to come an hour after the inspection starts, and I myself come at that time because I feel like it lets you get your job done. And I always say if you could check out the roof first so that we have like a midway point report, and then we hang out for like another hour, hour and a half, and then get the final report. Is that like common, or am I like the only crazy person that does that?
This is why you're my favorite agent. Yeah, I mean, I always encourage the clients to be there.
Right.
It's just easier to take them around,
Right.
get some questions answered.
Right.
But I do appreciate you thinking of me,
Right.
being able to, get to the home, get my bearings,
Right.
figure out some things. Because a lot of times the clients are ready with questions.
They're there,
and
right.
I might not have even been to that area of the home yet.
Right, right, right. So yeah, I just feel like because when you get there, when I have been there from the beginning, it's like we can't even talk to you yet because exactly you haven't been around the home. So I like to do that just to give you time, and then also obviously when we get there, hey, if there's a problem with the roof, we can kind of think things through, and maybe if we hear about other things, it's not as big of a deal because we have to deal with the roof issue. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind
Exactly.
of like how I play it. Do you guys do lead-based paint?
Yes, we do multiple different types of tests. We have a lab that we work with, so we can take samples of lead-based paint, asbestos,
Yeah.
mold. We like to consider ourselves, the one-stop shop.
Yeah, that's good because some other inspection companies, you have to like outsource that. So it's good that you guys like basically cover all of that and we don't have to worry. So that's another benefit too. And for all you realtors out there, I love your closing gifts. They are so special, and whenever I get the box at my office, I get so excited. You guys send a custom wine bottle with the picture of the home, the buyer's name, and then it comes from me, the realtor, and I give it as a gift, and I look like, the best person ever. Meanwhile, you guys provide it for me. So I kind of love that because it adds a little special touch. And I hear that there's something else that you guys are offering now.
What's that? It's news to me.
Oh my God, she just told you your boss, you're fired. Now you guys are offering candles for people that don't drink.
That's right, yes.
So it'll
'Cause
be
not
a
everybody drinks,
personalized
yeah.
labeled
Exactly.
candle, which I just think that added touch is like so special. You guys also sent me like a welcome mat, and my kids are like, "Why has your name on it?" I'm like, "I don't know, but it's from my inspection company. I love it." So, yeah, those little touches are what I love about your company. And I also recently found out that it is a woman-owned business, right?
That's correct, yes.
Which more power to the women out there.
Shout out to Christy.
Yes. So that's your boss that might fire you. No, I'm kidding. I just love that it's ran by women, and then obviously the inspectors out there are male, female as well. But like at least the core of it is a woman. So that was obviously a woman's idea to send out those closing gifts.
Oh,
1,000%.
Yeah.
So whoever did that, I feel like that basically made me say, oh my God, I got to use this company all the time. They're great. But not only with the inspections and with, the timing and how everything is just basically like all in one, like you said, one-stop shop. It just makes life easier, We're
We
in,
like to start with wow and we like to end with wow as well.
yes, but it also just makes it easier for us as realtors, for our clients to just be able to, get everything done through you and not have to talk to 10,000 other people. Like, it's the convenience factor. So I appreciate that with you guys. So let me think. What else can we talk about with an inspection? What is the craziest thing that has ever happened during an inspection?
Craziest thing. There's been
I can
many
tell you one, too.
crazy things. Oh my goodness.
Let me think. The craziest thing that's ever happened to me in an inspection.
Yeah, give me an example. This is great. We'll bounce off
So
each other.
besides a cat jumping out at me and scaring the crap out of me, I think there was like, as soon as we walked in, it was a rainy day and there was just water in the entire basement. And it was just like, okay. And then you could see where it was coming in. And obviously they didn't buy that house, but it was just like, what was there even, they were like, should we even pay for the inspection at this point? Because there was water everywhere.
Oh my goodness, that reminds me of, this wasn't my inspection, but we had a client bring their dog to the inspection.
Okay.
And, I guess I wouldn't mind like the pocket puppies, but this one they kind of let run around and ended up doing a number 2 on the carpet. Yeah. So yeah, it's not something I really would advise.
Right.
I want to make
Please
sure
leave
that
your pets at home.
the whole family's comfortable in the house, but leave the doggies at home.
Yeah. So, trying to think now with the crazy parts. Come on, you have to give me something else. I know there's something else that happened crazy.
I mean, so it's crazy in a sense, okay? I did an inspection for a real estate agent this past week, and they were concerned about mold in the attic. And the crazy part is I've never seen this amount of mold, and all of it could have been prevented, okay?
Right.
I noticed outside when I was doing the exterior part of the inspection that I didn't see a lot of venting for the attic. And when I got up into the attic, there's roof vents that they use. It's typical on shingled homes. And they're at the ridge. Well, they had it set up to look like there was venting there, but there wasn't any venting. They just put an extra layer of shingles there. So there was water dripping from the inside of the attic where the ridge is, just dripping. All the nails coming through were all rusted. There was black mold, there was green mold, there was
And
white
somebody was
mold.
living in this house
And they
this
were
whole
living there.
time.
And it was the complete whole attic was covered, and the home was only 4 years old.
Oh.
Yeah, and they were suffering from some respiratory issues. When
Oh
I
my
got
God.
there, the client was like coughing and stuff, and I'm like, "Have you been sick?" Or
Right.
he's like, "No, I've just been coughing," and it's no wonder. We made sure that we got the mold tested for them by a lab, so they know
Right.
what they're dealing
Well,
with.
it's interesting that you're saying that with a house that's 4 years old, because I have found that it doesn't matter if it's new construction. There's might be issues because nowadays they don't make things the way they used to, and you still have to get an inspection. So
Absolutely.
unfortunately, even if it looks so perfect and brand new, it doesn't necessarily mean that the job was done right. There could be I think there was one case where like a pipe wasn't connected, like it just was not connected at all, or with air, anything, and like that's the one thing I hate about new construction, because it could look like it's perfect, but it might not be.
And the builders could be great. They could have a great reputation, but
Right.
there could be a worker that that day wasn't having a great day.
Exactly. Right, and just doesn't give a crap.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important to know too. So let's run through what to expect at an inspection, which is basically Miguel. And he will basically go through the house and check every little outlet, every light, all the major things. You let the client know, what you found, and, what's like the bullet point here? Like, what are the main things that we can just like quickly edit and say, like, this is what you do?
I look over, it's visually non-invasive
Right.
inspection of the home and its components. If it's an occupied home, I'm not moving any furniture,
Right.
I can't see through the floors or the walls,
Right.
but I do my due diligence.
Don't you have that little camera?
I do, and it helps.
What's that camera do? I
The
love that
thermal
thing.
imaging
Yes.
camera, yeah.
You point it and you see what's behind the wall, and if there's moisture, what color is it?
Blue.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like seeing
it
blue.
It can find moisture and also like drafts and everything.
Yeah, I love that thing. I've used
Yeah,
it before.
It definitely does help.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so what else would you like to add about your company? How long have you guys been in the business? Like things like that.
Pro-spect's been in business for 15 years.
Wow.
And this is the best company I've ever worked for. This is my first experience as being a home inspector. But the other jobs that I've had in the past, I'd usually move up in ranks, become a boss of some sort, and end up inspecting other people's work. So
Right.
I was kind of, I was made to be a home inspector. And when
Okay.
the opportunity arose, I was just blessed to find this place. You
Right.
know.
That's awesome.
They're great people, absolutely. Family owned, operated.
Women owned.
Yeah, we're just one big family. Positivity, all about innovation and education.
Right.
And,
Are you guys hiring right now?
I bet we are. I bet we are for different things because
Right.
there's a lot of moving parts for our business. So
Okay. So I know we went through, what to expect at an inspection, but can you just give me like a bullet point of like what actual inspections you guys, provide?
sure, absolutely. Of course, residential home inspection. We also do commercial inspections as well. Pre-drywall for when you're having your home built. 11-month builder warranty inspections, which is really helpful, finding all those things that the builder can get fixed before the warranty's up.
Okay.
We also do rental inspections, so if somebody's renting, they need us to come out to inspect.
And that's where the lead-based paint comes in too, because you have to have that done.
that happens a lot. You're absolutely correct. Termite, of course, we do well inspections. Of course, radon testing, stucco inspections. We do all types of water testing as well. Septic.
Yeah.
We also sewer scope.
Yeah, I have a client that just is doing that in Manioc because they're worried that the sewer line is too old.
Yeah, I always recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Irrigation inspections, we talked about walk and talk.
Right.
Solar panels, if you have solar panels. I used to
Right.
install solar, so I can go up there and inspect the solar panels for you. Carbon monoxide testing as well. And every so often we'll do like energy assessments if
Right.
the client needs it.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I didn't even know you guys offered all of this, and I've been, a client of yours. I had no idea, so I'm happy to hear that you guys have more than just your basic home inspection. So that's awesome. So how do we get in touch with Pro-spect to, book an inspection?
Well, you give us a call, or you can go to go.prospect.com.
Okay.
Or the new feature that we have is texting in. A lot of
Yes.
people are loving that they can just
Yes,
text in
and not
say
talk to
that.
anyone. That's the new generation of, what are they called? The younger generation of us?
Yeah, I don't even know.
Gen Z.
Gen Z.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
the Gen
Gen
Z.
Z way.
The
Yeah.
Gen Z way, yeah.
Are you a millennial? I think you are.
We're all millennials,
Yeah.
I think. Well,
I don't know how old
I don't
he
want to
is.
speak
Yeah.
for how old you young people are. We're millennials. Me
Yeah.
and John, I know that.
So I mentioned earlier that inspections are where deals go to die because obviously, things happen and people get fearful. But why do you think, people shouldn't have fear, especially when they hire Pro-spect?
Well, number one, everything's fixable.
Right.
All right. And when you have a list of these items in front of you, clearly stated, you have a better peace of mind. You'll know
Right.
how to handle it.
Well, thank you. And you're definitely good at, like, keeping it calm. Obviously, if you weren't an inspector and you were a nervous Nelly, it would not be a good job for you. So I do appreciate, the personality that you have when it comes to, handling the situation from A to Z when we're in, the house and everything. So,
Thank you.
and then obviously when I, meet a client, the number one thing when we go to put an offer in is we're talking about the inspection. And I can't emphasize enough how important it is to get one done. So you probably have the most important job in the entire transaction where, like you said, everything can be fixable. Like you can ease the fear of, what is going on. But at the end of the day, it is probably the most important part. So I definitely recommend getting an inspection every time. I definitely recommend calling Pro-spect because they are the best. And after you use them one time, all you realtors out there that are my friends, you better call them. Tell them you sold them on Elm Street. And yeah, you're going to enjoy it. Miguel's one of many inspectors. They're hiring every day if anybody needs a job. So it's kind of like a great company, women owned. And yeah, thank you so much for, having me come here today and we can learn more. And I really appreciate you guys having me here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, Pro-spect, for having me come to your Delaware office today. It's beautiful. And thank you all. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. If you're looking to buy a house in PA, New Jersey, I'm here to help. If you need an inspection, Pro-spect is here as well. They're open, I think you guys are open 6 days a week, aren't you? Yeah,
6 or 7.
Saturdays. Yeah.
Flexible.
So yeah, they're awesome. And don't forget, and also all of our information will be in the show notes. So check that out, and thank you, and have a wonderful day. I don't know what else to say.
Thanks for just.
Oh, I know what to say. All right.
Alright.
All right, so thank you for tuning in to Elm Street, and if you guys, realtors out there want to share this video with your clients, feel free, so that they, are a little bit at ease when it comes to the inspection. And also, thank you to Pro-spect for having me today, and have a great day. Your favorite realtor, Elma?